I watched one man dismantle another with just 4 minutes and 2 seconds of audio. While Kendrick Lamar dropped Not Like Us and sent shockwaves through hip-hop, Diddy Combs, a man who once commanded rooms with his presence, completely vanished from public view. But here's what nobody's talking about. This wasn't just about rap beef or legal troubles. This was psychological warfare playing out in real time. I'm about to show you exactly how one man's mind games made him untouchable while the other became a ghost. Drop a comment right now if you think you know who really won this battle, because by the end of this video, you might change your mind completely. Let me take you inside a fascinating psychological case study in recent hip-hop history. What I discovered when I analyzed both men's strategies will change how you see power dynamics in entertainment. Everyone thinks this story is about music versus scandal, but that's surface level. The real story? It's about two completely different approaches to human psychology and how understanding your audience's subconscious can make you a king or a cautionary tale. I spent weeks studying behavioral psychology, media dynamics, and social identity to understand what really happened here. And what I found will make you question everything you thought you knew about modern celebrity. Let's start with Kendrick, because his psychological strategy was genius. For months, maybe even years, he stayed silent while the hip-hop world buzzed. Drake was dropping album after album, making headlines, staying visible. But Kendrick? He was invisible. And that invisibility wasn't weakness, it was calculated. There's a concept in psychology called the scarcity principle. The rarer something becomes, the more valuable our brains perceive it to be. While everyone else was oversaturating the market, Kendrick was creating artificial scarcity with his own voice. Every time he did speak, every rare interview or feature, it carried the weight of an event, not just another Tuesday. Here's where it gets really interesting: his silence was training our brains to pay attention. When someone rarely speaks but always delivers, it triggers something primal. We start to associate their voice with importance, with weight, with truth. Meanwhile, constant voices become background noise. Kendrick understood this deeply. He wasn't just making music, he was conditioning an entire culture to stop whenever he had something to say. And then came Not Like Us. For minutes and 2 seconds that didn't just diss Drake, they psychologically repositioned Kendrick as the moral authority of hip-hop. He wasn't just calling out inauthenticity, he was positioning himself as the solution. But while Kendrick was orchestrating this masterpiece of perception management, something completely different was happening to Diddy. Diddy's situation reveals a brutal truth about modern psychology: the difference between earned trust and assumed trust. For decades, Diddy operated on assumed trust. He was successful, visible, powerful, so we assumed he was trustworthy. But here's the thing about assumed trust: it's incredibly fragile. The moment questions arise, the whole structure can collapse instantly. When the allegations started, when the raids happened, when the legal troubles mounted, Diddy made a crucial psychological error. He went silent. Silence can be powerful, we just saw that with Kendrick. But Kendrick's silence felt deliberate, artistic. Diddy's silence felt like hiding. Our brains are wired to interpret silence very differently depending on context. This is where confirmation bias comes into play, and it's fascinating. When someone with a generally positive reputation goes quiet, we fill in the blanks with positive assumptions. They're being thoughtful, they're above the drama, they're working on something important. But when someone embroiled in controversy goes quiet, we fill in those same blanks with negative assumptions. They're hiding something, they're guilty, they're planning their next move. Diddy and Kendrick went silent around the same time, but our brains process those silences through completely different psychological filters. Kendrick's felt like the calm before an artistic storm. Diddy's felt like the calm before a legal storm. And that's when I realized this entire situation was a perfect case study in something psychologists call the halo effect versus the horn effect. Twist. Here's the twist that changes everything. Kendrick didn't just win by being more talented or more authentic. He won by understanding something most artists never figure out: timing is everything, but psychological timing is everything squared. Look at when he dropped Not Like Us. The culture was hungry for clarity. Social media was buzzing with conversations about authenticity, about who to support, about the difference between talent and character. Kendrick didn't just release a diss track, he released it at the exact moment the culture's psychological state was primed for that message. Meanwhile, Diddy's troubles surfaced at the worst possible psychological moment for him. We're living in an era of moral reckoning, where audiences don't just want entertainment, they want their entertainment to align with their values. Kendrick read the room perfectly. Diddy didn't read the room at all. The payoff reveals the most important lesson about modern fame: it's not enough to be successful anymore. You have to be psychologically intelligent. Kendrick's entire approach showed he understood his audience's subconscious needs better than they understood them themselves. He gave them moral clarity in a confusing time. He gave them authentic artistry in an era of manufactured content. He gave them a focal point when they needed one most. But more than that, he made them feel smart for choosing him. That's advanced psychological insight, making your audience feel good about their choice to support you. Diddy, unfortunately, made his audience feel conflicted about supporting him. And in today's attention economy, conflicted audiences don't stick around. They find clarity elsewhere. The psychology here is ruthless but simple: people will always choose the option that makes them feel better about themselves. What we witnessed wasn't really a battle between two men, it was a masterclass in applied psychology. Kendrick understood that modern audiences don't just consume content, they consume identity. When people play his music, they're not just hearing beats and bars, they're signaling to themselves and others who they are, what they value, what they stand for. He made supporting him feel like a moral choice, not just an artistic one. Diddy, whether intentionally or not, made supporting him feel like a moral compromise. And in a culture where our entertainment choices have become extensions of our personal brands, that's the difference between winning and disappearing. The most powerful lesson here isn't about music or fame, it's about understanding that in the modern world, psychology is power. Those who understand how minds work will always outperform those who only understand how industries work. And that's exactly why Kendrick won, and why Diddy vanished. Before you go, I want to know what you think. Was Kendrick's psychological strategy conscious or intuitive? And do you think Diddy could have played this differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if this breakdown opened your eyes to something new about fame, psychology, or power dynamics, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology behind the headlines. Trust me, once you start seeing the psychological games being played in entertainment, you'll never watch celebrity culture the same way again.